We're on the air. Little bit late, but we're on the air. This is, of course, High Class Geek News. I'm your friendly neighborhood geekazoid, Evan Ransom. And with me today is Rabbit.
What up?
And it looks like for at least a while now it's going to be just you and me. A professional
this is good.
on the floor. Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
See, you know, it's kind of annoying because it's Pixie's birthday. She said she'd be here for today. And that's why I didn't, go up onto the Facebook and be like, happy birthday, my usual jokey manner. Because I'm like, I could tell her on the internet, like when we're doing the video.
Yeah, and sadly she's not joining us, or at least she's going to be showing up extremely late.
And
who knows?
Possibly extremely drunk, if the current theory is correct. But that's okay. We'll just get right into it. Might as well. Probably best we start a little late because there wasn't a whole lot of geek news this week.
No.
As to be expected, post SDCC.
Yep. All the good spoilers already been done. All the news already came out. And now it's boring until, I don't know when, Q4 before Christmas.
But hey, on the upside, this gives us an excuse to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Woohoo!
I have seen it. You have seen it. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. It was very fun. Nice little bit of action, a little comedy. I think it was all good. I am really impressed with how well they rendered Rocket the Raccoon and Groot. I can't remember the name.
Groot.
I am Groot.
Yeah, I'm to say, he only says 3 words the whole movie. You have trouble remembering the name.
I couldn't remember it was Groot or Grood.
Pixie has just messaged us.
Uh-oh.
She's trying to get her laptop working. So this doesn't disclude the drunk theory.
Yes.
She said as soon as she can, she'll hop in. Okay. But anyway, moving on. Yeah. So we're gonna be. It's you know what? It's the internet. Most of America has seen it by this point. It's like 9 o'clock at night. So we're going spoilery.
Yeah. Screw you, internet.
I can't believe it. I got a movie where 2 of my favorite Marvel characters were in it. Rocket Raccoon, and now everybody knows what I was talking about when they announced this movie 2 years ago, and I was like, can't wait to see him. He's so badass. I'm like, you mean funny, right? No, I mean straight up badass. And 2, Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Done right.
Oh man, yeah, that was a nice little quick spoiler at the end. I thought it was pretty good. So, are we going to see a Howard the Duck movies? Is the big question.
Yeah, as far as I know, nothing's been said. I think at some point they recently announced finally what all their Phase 3 movies are. So I know there's definitely a Doctor Strange movie and a Black Panther movie in the works, but I'm not sure about Howard the Duck. I hope so. Because what I love about that implication is everyone was talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. This is Marvel Studios' biggest risk yet, because no one outside of comics knows about these guys. And I'm like, if they take the Marvel movie, Howard the Duck was the very first Marvel comics to ever be made into a theatrical release movie, and it was shit. It was horrible. It's one of the greatest failures known to man to this day. If they do their own version of Howard the Duck and make it succeed.
Pretty soon there will be a Howard the Duck trilogy, Howard the Duck lunchbox. They'll just come fully out of comics and straight into mainstream. How will that make you feel?
Considering how Howard the Duck was in mainstream last time, it makes me feel good.
I
can't wait to
Howard
the Howard the Duck omnibus. And yeah, I have it. Trust me, man. If you've watched, unlike most people in my generation, I was exposed to Howard the Duck through that shitty ass movie, and then I read the comic. And my immediate response after I finally read the comic, the original issues from the '70s, was to go back to that movie and be like, "Fuck you!" People have no idea how much that movie ruined what is easily one of the greatest characters in comics. He was like the original Spider Jerusalem, basically. It is full of subversive humor and political and social commentary, and we got some stupid movie with a midget in a duck costume.
Oh.
Like George Lucas, Hollywood's most famous midget fetishist.
Yep.
But now that we got that spoiler out of the way, though, just the movie. Okay, I got to bring this up. I watched like 1.5 reviews before coming on earlier today. There's one I had to stop watching because it was annoying me. It was one of those things. It reeked of I have come to this decision before I started watching the movie, but I don't realize that I came to that decision before I started watching the movie. And so this guy's talking about this movie. I'm like, did we see the same movie? But since I am the major comic book geek, yeah, this is not 100% true to the comic. There are lots of changes with characters and stuff like that. However, there are two things to keep in mind. One is both reviewers said this, even though one liked it, one didn't. And both of them said, yeah, this is they're clearly adapting the Brian Michael Bendis run. The Brian Michael Bendis run of Guardians of the Galaxy just started maybe a year ago, if that. They announced this movie 2 years ago. And someone apparently doesn't know how comic books and movie production works. It takes about a month, especially in today's day and age, to make a comic. 6 months back in the old school days. So this is an adaptation of the Brian Michael Bendis run. The Brian Michael Bendis run is loosely based off of this. Because, Marvel, the comic book company, is actually kind of privy to these things. Surprise, surprise. And so it was like this group of Guardians of the Galaxy and all that, this group, this tone and all that, this was established before Bendis was assigned to the book.
Yeah.
So there's that for starters. The other thing is, and I'm surprised I'm the only geek who's figured this out, in a lot of ways, a lot of the Marvel Studios movies, with Thor, Captain America, Avengers, all of them, they're not really adaptations. No one seems to figure this out but me. All the movies are an actual comic book continuity, in the same way that the Ultimate line of Marvel Comics is in continuity, because this is a whole other universe. Technically, so they're not copying 616. They're not doing the movie version of 616. This is its own little universe that's going congruent with the 616 universe that we've known since the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby days of 1960 something. So really, they can't really say they did the adaptation wrong because they're not adapting it. They're giving you an alternate version.
Yeah, you can't really get mad at him for that. I mean, I was kind of upset with the whole Star Trek thing, but I got over that because it was a fantastic movie series, and I hope they do more of it. And Guardians of the Galaxy was fantastic. Now, I wasn't a comic book fanboy of it because I'm not really that much of a comic book nut, but I can understand why people would get angry, but they should let it go because it's pretty damn fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it works. I mean, I'm a huge comic book geek. I read Guardians of the Galaxy. I read some of the Abnett Lanning run, which is the most popular one right now. Not as much as I wish I did, but that was what actually got me really interested in the Guardians of the Galaxy. That and the Annihilation Conquest miniseries that reintroduced them to the Marvel Universe. And honestly, that was what was in my mind when they first announced it. And everything I saw was good. It was solid. I liked Star-Lord, the man-child. It's pretty much, if anything, this movie took what was in, with the main characters anyway, it took what was in the comics and just sort of enhanced it, really worked with that basic idea. Star-Lord is essentially this overgrown man-child, irresponsible as hell. Always was. I mean, literally his main character motivation in the comics is he's rebelling like mad against his dad. I mean,
yeah.
And his dad is probably the biggest asshole in the Marvel Universe, and that's really saying something, so you don't blame him. Yeah. Gamora, I mean, it's there are character changes. I can't really say they changed Drax too much. It looks like he'd be the biggest change, but when I was introduced to Drax was in Annihilation, and they kind of firmly established he's kind of a weird cross between, going to DC terms, Solomon Grundy and Doomsday. He changes all the time, and for the longest time, he was just sort of a mindless killing machine idiot. And he's not really an idiot in this movie. It's just he's something about the way his brain works, because they made him an alien for the movie. He can't
Mhm.
understand metaphor.
Yeah.
So he's very straightforward. It's like the one dumb thing he does really in the movie, like really dumb thing, he's drunk. So yeah, because we've never done stupid shit while drunk. No.
No, not at all. Completely innocent. Never done
Yeah.
such a thing. I don't
Not
even
only
drink
that, but
that.
they make it. Yeah. Not only that, but they make it clear he's drunk for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, and
But
of
yeah,
course Rocket goes. Did Rocket ever shoot his gun that folds out and energizes at all in that movie? I never caught it. I thought I saw him use other weapons, but I never saw him use his own rifle. That one that he keeps pointing at everybody.
I don't know. I was just happy he was shooting people.
Well, yeah, it was fantastic.
Especially that bit in the prison where they're escaping. He finally gets his hand on his gun. He's just so happy.
Yes. Ah.
Oh God! And just honestly, I want a poster of this one screen cap. I instantly decided this is one of my favorite moments ever in a movie, and that's when they show the title, and it takes up most of the screen, really big, epic letters, and right under it is Star-Lord dancing on the alien planet. All while they're playing "Come and Get Your Love." I mean,
Yeah.
it is brilliant. I mean, I like it. In 10 minutes, like the first 5 minutes, it breaks your heart, and like 2 minutes later, it's just you're just going along with it, smiling and happy. It's not even that it's a funny movie; it's a feel-good movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie where, I swear everyone who hasn't seen the movie must think I'm joking, but I'm dead serious. You've seen it, so you know what I'm talking about. It's a movie where the entire universe is saved by a combination of ooh child and pelvic thrusting. And it's a wonderful what the fuck moment that works. It's like that's something else I called this movie when second time I saw it to my friends. I'm like, this is a series of scenes and events that shouldn't work but do. I mean, literally, he's saving the world by singing "Ooh Child" and thrusting his pelvis. With that wonderful response from Ronan the Accuser, who is literally doing that one half of the gesture to destroy a planet, and he just stops and goes, "What are you doing? What is this? What are you doing?"
Dance off, you and me. Let's go.
Oh God! And that one quick shot to Gamora where he points to her and she's just shaking her head. It's like the one time in the entire movie she looks terrified. But the thing I love most about this movie though is you can always tell who saw it and who didn't by just getting their reaction when you say when you say these 4 words. Oh, 5 words. These 5 words. We're just like Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Oh God. This was like it's about as close as you could get to a perfect movie.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, you care about these characters, and at the same point, the thing I love is they never really stop being assholes, even when they're saving the world.
Yeah.
They're Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I'm like they're wonderful self-serving characters. Go ahead.
Oh, it's that whole act of defiance, like we're gonna die, but I'm gonna go down an asshole.
Well, I was just happy that Star-Lord came right out and gave the motivation I wish came up most often in movies when in situations like the one with this one, where Rocket Raccoon says, "Why do you want to say? What has the galaxy done for you? Why do you want to save the galaxy?" And he comes around and says, "Because I'm one of the idiots that lives in it." It's like every time I watch a movie and it's like the villain's motivation is, "I want to destroy the world," and I'm like, "But you live on this world. You're gonna go with it." I mean, granted, Ronan the Accuser wanted to destroy a world, but he clearly was going to survive that. So,
yeah.
And it's
Did he eventually want to move it to destroying the entire galaxy, or was it just destroying Nova Prime?
Well, he wanted to destroy Xandar because I guess they had, in this universe, the Kree world had problems with them. Just pretty much Ronan the Accuser in a nutshell is just a fucking old school Kree fanatic. He believes in the old school ways of the Kree, no matter what. And it's simultaneously everything that's good and bad about him, which is why he's so easily a villain, but you can easily see him in sort of like the ally role for a lot of superheroes too, because he'll do anything to protect the Kree race. He's basically thank Zod from Man of Steel.
Yeah. Okay. I need to read the comic book. This sounds way too good.
Yeah. Well, he's a old school villain from like way back in the Stan Lee Jack Kirby days of Fantastic Four. So it's the cosmic universe of Marvel is actually a really interesting place, but it's one of those that people always focus so much on the down to earth characters. It's easy for even a lot of comic book geeks to sort of not completely dismiss, but not spend that much attention on. Even though the Infinity Gauntlet thing is like kind of one of those required reading things. Anyway, we will move on to some news now because I otherwise I could spend an entire hour just geeking out about that movie. High Class Geek approves.
Go and see it. Give them your money.
All right, moving on to movies. First off, our theatrical releases for this week: The Expendables 3, a.k.a. the only way you can get that many men on screen and have every heterosexual man just jerking off the entire time in the movie theater. The 100-Foot Journey, I don't even know what the fuck that is. Into the Storm, I saw a trailer for that. I wish I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And Step Up All In, which, considering it's being released the same weekend as Expendables 3, I'm sure we'll all be out.
Yep.
As for home video coming out this week, Oculus, the other Karen Gillan movie that came out this year. The one where you actually see her face and she's not covered in blue.
Who knew?
Yeah, Divergent, based off of the YA novel that I did not bother to watch it because I thought the premise was stupid. Without Warning, which, considering I never heard of that movie, yeah, it's a pretty accurate title. Need for Speed, from which I heard is kind of slow. And we're getting a Blu-ray release of Phantom of Paradise, which isn't required geek watching, but one of those, if you get the opportunity, you should watch kind of films. It's a disco rock opera adaptation of the Phantom of the Opera.
Okay. Might be worth it.
Yeah. And did you ever watch Mobile Suit Gundam Wing?
No, I did not. Oh, God, no, I haven't seen it. I've been told I need to watch it.
If you ever Google search images of it, eventually you'll come across this one character who has long blonde hair and this white mask that he pretty much almost never takes off. Yeah, their version of the Phantom's not too far off from that guy, visually speaking. Now we got that out of the way. Actual news. Dude, we got Quentin Tarantino news.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, on top of the fact that he's co-writing the comic where Django teams up with Zorro, which apparently will be a prequel to the Django movie. He has confirmed that starting in early 2015, he's going to start filming The Hateful Eight. Which was that movie that for a while he was saying he wasn't going to film because some asshole got their hands on the script and just leaked it out on the internet, and this really pissed him off.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, but apparently he decided no, he can't. The story is too good. He can't let it go. He went back, reworked the script. I don't think it was from the sounds of things, it wasn't I'm reworking it so that it's like a whole new story so no one knows what's coming kind of reworking. It's I just thought of different things I can do with the story kind of reworking, and that the script is done and he's doing it. He also said casually, this was all announced apparently at the San Diego Comic-Con, he also casually announced that he's got a sci-fi idea brewing in his head that he said basically if it was a couple of years ago he asked him if he'd do a sci-fi movie, he'd be like, hell no. Now he's saying, I'm not sure because I have an idea.
So that would probably be amazing.
Yeah. And the other great thing is that another thing in 2015, okay, as you know, Kill Bill was supposed to be one movie, right? And there's this legendary cut that was only shown at Cannes a couple years back called Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair. And pretty much just didn't exist until recently because part of the thing was he was going to have a 30-minute anime sequence. And just basically, it never really got completed. You just saw a little bit of the Oren Oshii origin in Kill Bill Volume 1. That was it. Because they're like, you can't interrupt your movie for 30 minutes to do a cartoon. And at the time, I guess Quentin Tarantino was just like, well, I'm fucking Quentin Tarantino, but yeah, sure, whatever. But it turns out, if what he says is true, that they started talking about possibly releasing it as it was originally supposed to be, and the studio in Japan just found out about it, and no one told them to do this or nothing. They just went ahead and finished the sequence. They still had the script pages. Completely completely free of charge. So it's done, and it's possible it may get an actual full-on theatrical release sometime next year. Nothing confirmed yet. This is just rumor, and normally I don't try to bring up rumor, but I've been waiting to see the whole bloody affair since I found out it exists.
Yeah, I want to see that now. And with all this Quentin Tarantino news, I'm still waiting for another Grindhouse double feature. I want this. Why haven't they given it to me yet?
They did. It was called Sin City. I'm looking forward to seeing Game to Kill for. I'm looking forward to seeing some naked Eva Green in black and white.
I'm okay with that.
I know that story. You literally can't play that character and not get completely naked. Which, if you've seen the Red Band trailer, she does. Though it's kind of annoying. It's a Red Band trailer since they clearly blurred out this certain things you're not supposed to see, like fucking nipples matter or something. Anyway,
exactly.
They've also released the trailer for SpongeBob SquarePants: Sponge Out of Water. I've seen the trailer. I might actually have to watch this movie, which is funny because I am almost SpongeBob SquarePants is one of those things. I don't understand why it's as popular as it is. I don't hate it, but it's not my thing. But the trailer is hilarious. The main villain is Antonio Banderas as a sea pirate.
Alright, that's funny.
Yeah. And apparently some of the movie takes place in the real world where they purposely CG'd them into 3 dimensions to represent them as cartoon characters in the real world. But the best part is that they're keeping their proportions realistic. So they're like, it looks wonderfully, delightfully stupid. And our final bit of news for the movie, as far as is concerned, we have casting confirmation on the Jungle Book movie, the new live-action Jungle Book movie, which is the one actually based off of the Jungle Book cartoon movie. Not to be confused with the live-action movie that came out like almost 20 years ago that was based off of the Rudyard Kipling book and thereby confused everybody. We have confirmed that Bill Murray will be the voice of Baloo.
Yeah! That sounds good.
This will make up for the fact that we never got a Ghostbusters 3 before Harold Ramis died. Sort of.
Yeah.
Honestly, considering what a lot of like the 80s franchises that came back are like these days, like that Die Hard movie that doesn't exist and that Indiana Jones movie that doesn't exist, it's probably best we stop it too.
Yeah, that might be fine.
Yeah. And let's see. Moving on to television. For those who are doing home video, there's actually a ton of TV coming out on DVD and Blu-ray this week. I just stuck to the stuff that's strictly geek. It should be noted, I said geek, not good.
Yeah.
The 5th season of Community. Doctor Who Series 4 Part 1, for those who are just now getting on the bandwagon. Ninja Turtles, The Next Mutation, Turtle Power. Do you remember that show?
No, I just remember the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Oh, this was the live.
Different.
This was the live action Ninja Turtle show they had in the late 90s. Which
I forgot about that.
Yeah, which Power Rangers in Space Volume 1 also comes out this week, which is kind of fitting because that was the season. You know how I know Power Rangers in Space was the same season that Turtles came out? Crossover episode.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there was a time where the Power Rangers teamed up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No.
Think about how much better it would have been if it was the animated cartoon instead, and they still did the crossover.
Well, see, I never liked the Power Rangers. I found it annoying, and so that would have probably killed Turtles for me.
I loved the Power Rangers because it was an excuse to watch giant robots and giant monsters fight each other, and there wasn't that much of that in the 90s.
Yeah, unless you
In
were in
live
Japan.
action. Yeah.
In live action.
Yeah. And finally, Transformer Cybertron The Complete Series comes out.
Hmm.
Yeah. Then as for news, and it is so sad that John cannot join us at the moment. I was hoping he'd be there when I pointed this one out, because this is so his thing. So you're going to have to be John for this, all right?
Hang on. I'm ready.
Well, you should put something on your face so it looks like you got the friggin' Anyway. It has been confirmed from producers Sam Raimi and producer star Bruce Campbell. Evil Dead the series.
Woohoo!
And yes, Bruce Campbell is starring as Ash in it.
Yeah! Alright.
Shit, my zipper broke. Damn boner. Ow.
Yeah, just push it back down. Or tilt the camera up higher.
Just remember, being attracted to Bruce Campbell does not make you gay, it just makes you human.
Exactly. Who could avoid that chin? I just want to caress it. Just, oh, Bruce, such a powerful
actually kind of makes me want to see him get into a chin fight with Reese Witherspoon, but that's just me. So you have the chin, and I see your profile is as thick as mine.
You merely adopted the chin. I was born with this chin.
When you have cut off your hand and replaced it with a chainsaw, then you have my permission to kill deadites. So, yeah, Ashbane.
Okay.
This is the most awesome thing that happened to Evil Dead since they did an Army of Darkness crossover comic with Hack Slash. Which Hack Slash is just a comic everyone should read.
I'll add it to the list.
Yeah. Well, brief aside from TV for a second, since I'm guessing this is the first you heard of Hack Slash. Are you a fan of like the Splatterhouse style movies like Friday the 13th and Halloween, those kinds of things?
Not gore for the sake of gore. I require some bit of story.
No, I mean just like the old school slasher films.
Yeah, I do like those.
Yeah. Like even the ones where even when they were bad, they were entertaining, yeah. You know how there's always that one girl left at the end?
Mm-hmm.
Well, imagine if that girl was horribly traumatized by the experience, but in a way that made her want to go and find other slashers and kill them with a baseball bat full of bent, rusty nails.
I'm okay with this.
Also,
And
she's a
apparently I have to
badass-looking,
do
sexy goth chick who wears lots of revealing clothes.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I have a comic here.
Yep. Going to have to read it now.
Yeah, and believe it or not, she's actually one of the best characters I ever came across in a comic, revealing clothes or not. And yes, there is occasional nudity, but as is kind of fitting in a weird way, I have yet to see her naked in the comic. I say in the comic because a Google search and you will find the fan art.
Of course.
I'm still annoyed that I've seen Wonder Woman's tits. There are some things that were never meant to be seen. But anyway, moving on back to television. We have been confirmed. We have some writers and directors for the Agent Carter series. That will be coming out mid-season to take over for the break, if I got this right, for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It will be written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McNeely, at least the pilot. who basically they are the writers of the first Avenger and Winter Soldier, respectively, the movies. And yeah, and the pilot is being directed by Louis Despacito. He also had a connection to movies, but I don't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the Russo brothers, who gave us the Winter Soldier, are directing the second and third episode, and the fourth episode will be directed by Joe Johnston, who is the guy who directed the first Avenger.
Right on.
Yeah, so they're keeping it in-house in all the right ways.
Sweet.
Yes.
Keep the styles looking good, and everything will flow nice. It'll be something to be proud of.
Also, I just now thought about this, and it's kind of sad, or kind of great that it took me a while to think about this, but this will be the only television show on network television that's comic book based and focuses on a woman.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
Marvel.
I think so. Go Marvel. Good job.
We've yet to get a confirmed. I think they confirmed a Wonder Woman movie. That'll be way down the line. But damn it, yeah, go Marvel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go Marvel.
Yeah. On to video games. We don't have any news, so I'm just basically announcing releases for video games. Because you're very much a PC guy. These two games are both coming out for the PS3, the Xbox 360, and Windows.
Drum roll.
Sacred 3 and Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, what was the first one?
Sacred 3.
Sacred 3 and Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
Huh.
So you'll have to clean off that keyboard that you've been spilling your juice all over. You don't have things to do with your computer other than look up porn. Well, looking up porn. Also,
I do game on it.
Yeah. Also for the PS Vita, tabletop racing, because I love how every week there's just one stupid-ass boring game that comes out. I think last week it's like the only thing coming out for anything on Xbox was just something really fucking embarrassing, and I wish I could remember what it was. We have a similar situation also for comics. Once again, no real news. So I kind of just... This is literally every comic I'm going to be collecting this week. Digitally via Comixology, because that's how I roll. But two Original Sin tie-ins. Original Sin, Hulk versus Iron Man. I think this is the last issue of this miniseries where we find out how Iron Man is actually responsible for turning Bruce Banner into the Hulk. And apparently the last issue, the cliffhanger was that Tony Stark just realized he did something even worse, apparently. And this is something that Banner doesn't know about yet. Now he's like really desperately hoping he doesn't find out. I'm guessing he slept with Betty Brant while drunk or something. I am not. That is my honest to God guess. I'm like, okay, it's one thing to turn a man into a Hulk. It's another thing to bang his Stan Lee designated love interest.
Wonder how angry he'll be after that.
You know, he's had lots of good reasons to be angry lately. I mean, look at the Planet Hulk thing. Black Widow #9, because we can only get so much Scarlett Johansson on the screen, and we see it all and under the skin. No. Hey, she did Full Frontal.
Yeah.
And it was just before she got her ass knocked up, so... I wish I could say you should watch it for other reasons, but from what I hear, that's where most of your entertainment value on that is coming from.
Yeah, it's pretty much an art house flick. It's supposed to make you just question things, not actually give you like a full congruent plot to satisfy your need.
Well, from what I got, it's an art house flick version of essentially Species, which was... There's a reason why the movie Species is what it is and is loved for the reason it is. It's because it is an art house. It knows that it's just a campy excuse to show a woman get naked a lot. Still never got completely out of my mind the alien sex scene from the second movie. But anyway.
I never watched the second one.
Oh, God. Apparently aliens like it doggy style. Naturally. Iron Fist, the Living Weapon, number 5, because Iron Fist is the man. Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man, number 4, because I really like Miles. There's a black Hispanic Spider-Man. That counts. I'm good with this. Miracle Man, number 9, because you live in a day and age where you can actually read Miracle Man without having to spend $200 on the trade. That is not a joke. There was a time, due to rights issues, there was a time where the trade paperbacks were so rare, it was actually cheaper to track down and buy the original issues than it was to get the trade.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was literally like maybe 5 years ago. At most.
Jesus. You comic book people, you're a strange breed.
It's oh god, it's a funny, complicated story. Moon Knight number 6, because I'm just liking that series, and I like how each issue is self-contained, so you don't have to like read the 5 issues that came before it. You'll be just fine. All you need to know is he's a superhero with brain damage. Now, Chastity number 2, because I will never stop reminding you what it was like when before vampires sparkled. Rachel Rising number 27, which is by Terry Moore, the guy who gave us Strangers in Paradise, and it's further proof that he is one fucked up individual. Hack Slash, son of Sam Hain, number 2. Yeah, it all came back to Hack Slash. Look at that. Look at that.
I guess I just have to read it.
Yeah, healthy reminder. This chick. Yeah. There's fan art for a reason.
Of course.
Yeah. Lazarus number 10, one of the best comics on the market about a post-apocalyptic world that's basically controlled by a handful of uber-rich families, while the rest of the world pretty much suffers unless you're hired by them. And New Avengers number 22, the series that focuses on the 5 Marvel characters that basically run shit, whether the world wants them to or not. Or is aware of them, for that matter. And now we move on to the happy-go-lucky segment we have every week called the obituaries. Because nothing brings joy like that. And this one, this is one of those ones where it kind of hurts, kind of doesn't. Dude was 92. When someone's that old, I'm like, you lived a life. I'm okay. But still, it hurts because this guy has done some work. Dick Smith, a makeup artist. He made Linda Blair look like Pazuzu in Exorcist, and was the one who made the guy who played Mozart look old in Amadeus, which is how he got his Oscar.
And he also did the makeup for The Godfather for Marlon Brando.
Oh, that was him. Okay, yeah, good work there. God knows Marlon Brando was not as old as they made him look in that movie.
No, he wasn't. He was still in really good shape. It was before he got totally obnoxiously fat.
Yeah, I think he was actually not even that much older than like Al Pacino and them. Like, he was older than them, but not by much.
Yeah, not too much.
I think that was that was also the movie that got him out of being blacklisted.
Yes.
Oh god, that's such a great movie. So I'm one of the people who prefers Part 2.
Part 2 is pretty fantastic. Yeah. I like the entire series.
Me too. I honestly think Part 3 gets more shit than it deserves. It's not as good as the movie we were supposed to get, but couldn't due to contract dispute. But it was still a good way to cap things off. And now that that's apparently everybody we care about who died this week.
Hooray! Only one person.
Yep. So we're moving on to science.
Science.
It should be noted that we've covered a lot more that we spent more time talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, if I got this right, than we had all the news.
There's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah, no. Go see Guardians of the Galaxy if you haven't already, goddammit. You know, well, one more thing about Guardians of the Galaxy, and I realized this. From looks of things, Guardians of the Galaxy is a phenomenon. Not the kind of thing that happens too often. This is one of those movies. I think people are going to try to copy it from now on, whether that's what they're doing, like they did with Pulp Fiction and The Matrix. And if that's the case, that'll be Marvel Studios' fourth phenomenon since 2008 when Iron Man came out.
Yeah, I'm liking this whole, let's throw all the money and make these big budget movies because we can get tons of money and make them awesome. So they just need to keep on doing it and not get chintzy with the pockets.
Honestly, in this particular case, it seems like, hey, we got tons of money and we love these characters and properties. Let's make the movies we want to see.
And they can. They don't have to change them too much.
They made Guardians of the Galaxy. Who the fuck was demanding a Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Someone with gigantic balls that went, I want to make this.
Yeah, and not only did they make the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but they threw in things like the Celestials, the Collector, Howard the Duck, Cosmo. That dog in the spacesuit, that is an actual established Marvel character.
Really? I thought it was a play on Laika, the Russian dog first went to space.
No, that dog is called Cosmo. It was one of the Russian dogs sent out into space, got hit by some cosmic rays, became uber intelligent, and has, like, telepathy. And he actually winds up
more mind-blowing than me. Than I thought. Holy shit.
Yeah, he actually winds up you know how they made it very clear to you that the dog gets out of the explosion. That wasn't a boomer will live sort of thing like with that stupid Man of Steel scene. No, that was actually important. That dog winds up running nowhere. The giant head that the bar and all that stuff was in. He winds up running the place. And during the more popular run of Guardians of the Galaxy from a few years ago by a couple of writers named Abnett and Lanning, he was basically the guy who was sending the Guardians on all the mission, like, hey, there's a job for you if you do this. So, yeah, ding, 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 ding. But yeah, moving on to science. NASA has selected their design for the Mars 2020 rover, which will be designed, among other things, to actually collect samples with a plan to somehow get that rover back, unlike the one we have on Mars now, which is just stuck there.
See, I'm not sure if they should try to bring stuff back. I mean, we have the Mars Science Laboratory, better known as Curiosity, but it has a gas chromatograph mass spectrometer on it. What are we going to gain from bringing these samples back? I see it as a zero sum. I mean, we're not going to get anything out of it more than we probably already have.
You never know. As long as we don't wind up accidentally recreating that episode of the X-Files, Ice with the friggin' earworm things, we should be good.
Yeah, as long as we don't have a Andromeda strain happen either, we should be fine.
Let's do everyone a favor and not live any Michael Crichton books for many, many reasons. They're not the most well-written of things.
Oh, whatever, and the Andromeda strain was fantastic.
Well,
and the Jurassic Park books were far better than the movies.
Well, the thing with Michael Crichton is he's an excellent conceptual writer. And that's it. Like, he'll give you a good idea you can put into your head. He can do a decent job with the plot. He is not good with character at all. His characters are, like, you could say arguably all characters are just the cogs in the machine of the story, but most writers are good enough to not make him come off that way. He's not. These are very clearly, these people do these things because for the story to work the way I want it to work, this is how they need to do these things. No real motivation other than the plot says so. It's a good way to get ideas across in a way that's very understandable, like high concept science ideas. It's just, it only works as a book. You really have to be into Michael Crichton to really enjoy Michael Crichton book-wise. Moving on. There was this thing called the M Drive engine, which basically somehow can propel theoretically a ship into space using microwaves. I read the article last night, and it was one of those things. It was I could not remember the specifics of it. I'm not going to go back and start quoting. But basically, in order for it to work, involved defying one of Newton's laws of physics.
Yes, the law of the conservation of momentum.
Yes, but apparently NASA took a look at it and said it might actually work.
Yeah. What's really weird, though, is that the second experiment they designed it to fail, to have control, worked. So let's wait until we get a better research paper out of this and see if it actually did work and it wasn't a fluke of instrumentation.
Yeah. If it does work, though, it is a huge fucking deal because this will literally fractionalize. I mean, just from an economic standpoint, it fractionalizes the cost of sending something into space.
Yes, by orders of magnitude, not to mention it makes it faster. Instead of months, it takes weeks to get to Mars, as the example. But you don't just simply violate the law of the conservation of momentum. I mean, if
hold on.
It does
You got to say that again. You have to say that again as Sean Bean, yeah. One does not simply.
One does not simply violate the law of the conservation of momentum. I mean,
and then a tortoise
does. But what this means is, if it actually does work, we have to rewrite conventional physics. You don't just simply change a law without changing everything, because that plays into everything else.
Yeah. When we say the building blocks of the universe, we are not joking.
No. I'd be excited if it did, but...
Look at the fun things that happens just when you mess with DNA. A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Hell, there's literally a way to completely and utterly unravel a human being just by messing with a single DNA strand.
Actually, you don't even need to do it that much. You just need to inject somebody with the protein... Well, actually, it's a protein compound that unzips your DNA normally when your cell goes through mitosis.
Turning it into a bunch of organic goo.
Yep. Just a pile of amino acids.
You know what I love about our science section? We always give our watchers reasons to have trouble sleeping at night. Remember when we announced that they may have made an H1G, what was it? I think it was an H1GN1 flu virus that is actually, I can completely bypass the human immune system.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't get out of level 4 containment.
Well, hopefully that's just like a rumor or something.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but going into our final segment, miscellaneous.
Hooray!
OkCupid has come out, and basically they're defending the human experiments that Facebook did, pointing out that all websites are basically doing that. Which, I'm not going to lie, I kind of knew that, but I knew it in a different way. I'm used to it being mainly a consumer thing, where it's like, oh, we know these people, if these people in this region buy a lot of this, we know this particular person is used to buying a lot of that. That's where a lot of that research is actually going and where the funding is coming from. Mm-hmm. So the people can sell you ads.
This is true. I have no problems with it. I mean, if you go onto a website and you're part of a dating service or what have you, you have to expect that pretty much everything you're looking at is entirely bullshit. The fact that it was the website being bullshitty as opposed to the person you're talking to, I mean, they weren't really doing anything hideously evil. They were making people that would... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, looking at Facebook's history, this is one of the lighter things they've done.
I know. Yeah, I mean, Facebook screwed with your emotions. They just made you talk to people you normally wouldn't talk to. Where's the downside of that?
I mean, when you get right down to it, for the most part, okay, I mean, by nature of experimentation, mainly what that means is that they were just looking at you while you did what you did.
And it was only used for betterment of their site and to try to study how people interact with each other. I don't find any problem with this, and it's not like they were selling off all this information about how human beings work when they're given limited data or anything. They were doing it for pretty much their own amusement and to show on their blog page.
It's I have a lot of fun with the fact that when I look at the world now, which is the future George Orwell predicted, I find it funny how the one thing he seemed to have gotten wrong with 1984 is he assumed there would be a Big Brother. I mean, there is a
There's
Big
several.
Brother. There is a Big Brother. It's just Big Brother isn't something controlling all the surveillance. Big Brother's just a TV show on CBS every once in a while, which is not the Big Brother he was thinking of.
Nope.
And I'm like, yeah, we live in a society now where there's pretty much no privacy when we're constantly being observed and watched by cameras, but there's no one on the other side of those cameras except each
Yeah,
other. And on top of that, we're more than happy to put our shit out there.
exactly. When it comes to down to all that, I mean, if you don't want to be watched, don't have a webcam, don't host a show on the internet called High Class Geek.
Yeah, and let's be honest, in probably less than 20 years, it's very likely we're going to have a presidential nominee whose penis we've seen.
Oh, probably. I mean, we've already had Anthony Weiner.
Well, I'm talking about just like from
Waiting
this
for him to
generation.
run.
It's like almost all the genitalia winds up on the internet.
Exactly.
It's like makes me happy I'm old as I am. I was the last generation of people who was smart enough to know shit like that doesn't go away.
No, it don't.
Let's be honest. I mean, considering how much of just college people fucking winds up on the internet, there's a good chance we're gonna have like a friggin' accidental porn star as our president in the next 20 years. They're going to be going up, and I'm going to be like, man, that person looks familiar, but I really like their stance on things. It's not until they're being sworn I was like, oh, I seen you naked. You were good.
I hope for this.
The future
Sasha Grey for president, everyone.
Can't be any worse than some others.
No.
Well, the music, but aside from that, I have no shame.
No.
And finally, this is one of those ones, at first, it'll seem like this should have gone like maybe in the movie section or the TV section, but because they haven't said what they're doing with it, they just confirmed it, that's why this is in miscellaneous. Marvel Studios has firmly trademarked Squirrel Girl. Yes, this is an actual character that exists, and believe it or not, she's right there with Rocket Raccoon in that she's incredibly, unbelievably, insanely awesome.
Now, is it an actual human female dressed as a squirrel, or a squirrel that is female?
She's a mutant, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. She is superpowered, and she has a naturally grown, oversized squirrel tail. But aside from that, she looks pretty much like a normal, cute human, normal girl.
Oh, okay.
And apparently she used to bang Wolverine for a bit. I just recently found that out. But then again, who didn't?
Yeah.
Basically, she was a creation of Spider-Man creator Steve Ditko, and got really popular roughly 10-ish years ago when they released basically a comedy action title called Great Lakes Avengers by Dan Slott, where she gained popularity. And she's one of those characters that's is kind of as a joke, but it's a joke that's firmly continuity. She is completely undefeated in battle. She has beaten almost every. And when I say she's undefeated, I don't mean she's like taking down slow people. She's beaten Doctor Doom.
Oh, wow.
I think she even she's beaten, I think, Thanos or Galactus once, one of those two. And the running gag with this character is they never show the fight, so we don't know how she's beating these guys. And to make it even better, she's like innocence incarnate. She is like the nicest, sweetest, bubbliest creature you can possibly imagine. So at some point, there's a very good chance we're going to get a live-action Squirrel Girl. She's going to pop up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or in a movie. I don't know. But
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would be good. That'll be a nice teaser to see if people want to do it in the movie. And it'll happen, probably.
Well, I love how in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., no one except for me seems to have figured this out. This is like right there with the whole this is in continuity thing with the cinematic universe, which is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Almost from the get-go has been setting up the Masters of Evil.
Really? Because I haven't been watching the show even though I want to.
Yeah, I was one of the few people that even though the first half was kind of disappointing, I stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was also one of the few people who had the lowest standard for it. I was like, I just want more Coulson. As long as I'm getting more Agent Coulson, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's what it gave me. I did not realize the second half was going to be as amazing as it was. But yeah, from the get-go, they've been creating characters that wind up being in a group called the Masters of Evil, who are basically the anti-Avengers.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this would be great. That means 3 or 4 movies down the line, we get the massive Avengers versus evildoers and massive clash. Oh, that'll be a good movie.
Well, one of the most famous Avengers stories, and I hope they do it one day, is called Under Siege,
Ooh.
which is basically, just a sec, John just got a hold of me. I'm professional, so I'm going to do a cell phone thing real quick.
Not a problem. Here, I'll look at Reddit while we're waiting. Here.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
But,
a funny cat picture.
I'm just letting him know we're about to finish up because I don't want him to come on just for us to say goodbye. But yeah, but Under Siege is a storyline where the Masters of Evil, they basically are able to get into Avengers Mansion or Tower now, as it would be done for the movies. But they got into Avengers Mansion as part of Baron von Strucker's plan to Pixie just got her laptop working. Anyway. Yeah, but as part of as a plan to just because the thing about the Masters of Evil is from the get-go they weren't about destroying or taking over the world or any of that shit. They just wanted to take down the Avengers. Mm-hmm. And Baron Zemo is like a close number 2 on Cap's hit list basically. So when this incarnation basically got into the mansion while they were all away on separate missions, so that when they were coming by one they could overtake them. And there's a moment in there, and I kind of hope they do in the movie. This is what made the story for me. I didn't get to read it until about a year ago, even though I've known about it since like high school, because I'm older than I look. For the dawn of time, I came. Anyway, and as I'm reading the story, I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is 80s fun comic book goodness, but it's not coming off this. I don't know. This isn't grand to me. It was a kind of a 2-part thing that did it. One was that Captain America gets captured, and I already knew about the famous scene in this comic where he's forced to watch Jarvis, who in the comics is an actual human being, get beaten almost to death by the Masters, and he's forced to witness that. But there's another moment where Baron Zemo, this is I think it's the second one, the son of the original Baron Zemo, who blames Captain America for his father's death, because those are permanent in comics. Yeah. But is part of his ultimate revenge. He basically went into Captain America's room in the mansion and just like started burning all his stuff right in front of him. And Cap, being the badass he is, he's like, it's just stuff. You can't hurt me this way. The very last 2 pages of this whole storyline is Captain America sitting on a roof. The Captain Marvel of the time, I think something Rambeau, Monica Rambeau, she's now called Photon whenever she pops up, finds him up there, and he's crying, like his heart had been broken. And she was like, "Why are you so upset about it?" And he said, "I acted all tough and everything when he did it, but that one photo of that woman that he threw in the fire, it just now hit me what he did. That was the only surviving photo of my mother."
Oh.
And it's like that instantly took it from, okay, Avengers story to one of the greatest Avengers stories I've ever heard, because I never saw Cap so vulnerable before. And your heart just breaks for him in that moment, because it reminds you, he's the man out of time. Yeah. When he's saying that there's no more photo, he can't. It's not like us, where it's like chances are there's a picture of our mom on the internet or something. She's long gone. There's nothing left. Yeah. I'm like, and it's just heartbreaking. And it's like few comics get that kind of reaction out of me. And I was just one of those things. I just had to put it down. I was like, I had to think about it for a solid 5 minutes. It's like 5 minutes straight. Afterwards, I did nothing. So I would love to see, as heartbreaking as it would be, I would love for them to, like, for Avengers 4, because I'm pretty sure Avengers 3 would be the Infinity Gauntlet, that they actually do that storyline and remember to put in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Assuming
That'd be good.
Steve Rogers is still alive. Something tells me Steve is, for at least a little while, not surviving the next Avengers movie, based on some of the teaser images and stuff they've been releasing. But that has been High Class Geek News.
Hey, and we did a full hour.
We did do a full hour. I'm proud of us. Thank you, Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
Or to put it in a language you're guaranteed to understand, I am Groot. I was, of course, a friendly neighborhood geekazoid Evan Ransom, the guy who runs the site because I really should hire a staff or something. With me today was Rabbit. Got here just in time to help me through this. And we get to laugh at how John got to miss out on the Evil Dead thing.
Yep.
That's
see,
it.
he's gonna have to.
We will be back next week at the same Geek time, on the same Geek channel, on the same YouTube, or something like that. And just because no one had done it yet, Sunday!